Hollywood rewards image, but punishes truth. For these 10 gay celebrities, being themselves meant risking it all. Careers stalled, rumors exploded, and fans turned cold. Yet somehow, they rose. Not through scandal, but through grace. Not by shouting, but by surviving. Today, they're not just out, they're respected. Stay with Silent Fame as we count down the stars Hollywood tried to break, but couldn't. 1. Neil Patrick Harris. The man who made the world rethink gay love. Neil Patrick Harris wasn't just funny. He wasn't just charming. He wasn't just Barney Stinson. He was the smile America trusted and the secret they didn't want to know. For years, Neil played the ultimate womanizer on screen while hiding the most honest part of his life off screen. Because that was the unspoken rule. Be brilliant, but be straight. He had been told that if he came out, it would ruin everything. Goodbye endorsements, goodbye roles, goodbye fans. He heard it all, but in 2006, Neil flipped the script. "I am a very content gay man," he said. "No press conference, no performance. Just truth." What happened next wasn't just a moment, it was a movement. Suddenly, the world saw a gay man raising kids, kissing his husband on red carpets, hosting the Oscars in glitter and grace. He didn't just break stereotypes, he replaced them with something softer, funnier, stronger. He taught a generation that being gay could mean being loved, successful, respected. Still, some critics whispered, "He's too palatable. He plays it safe. He's not political enough." But maybe that's exactly why his impact was so deep. He made gay relatable in living rooms that used to reject it. So what do you think? Is Neil a trailblazer or just someone lucky enough to survive Hollywood's double standards? Drop your thoughts below. And if you believe visibility matters, hit like, share this story, and subscribe to keep Silent Fame alive in your feed. 2. Jodie Foster, the woman who loved in silence and spoke in thunder. Jodie Foster never chased headlines. She chased excellence. From a child prodigy and Taxi Driver to two-time Oscar winner, she was always that actress, smart, fierce, untouchable. But even as the world dissected her performances, it demanded something more, her truth. For decades, rumors swirled, journalists pushed, fans speculated, but Jodie? She stood like stone. She didn't hide, she just refused to perform. It wasn't until 2013 on the Golden Globe stage that she finally let the curtain drop. "I already did my coming out 1,000 years ago." The crowd froze. It wasn't a grand reveal, it was a quiet thunderclap. Her confession wasn't designed to please anyone. It was a sigh, a release, a reclaiming. Some called her too late. Others accused her of cowardice, of benefiting from the closet. But they forget the risk. Hollywood has never been kind to women, let alone gay ones. Jodie survived where others were erased. And here's what matters. She never lost her dignity. She kept making art, kept lifting others, kept showing that your identity doesn't need to be loud to be powerful. Today, she's a hero to those who don't want to shout to be seen. Do you think her silence was strength or a missed opportunity? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if her story moved you, show some love, like, comment, and subscribe for more LGBTQ+ legends who change the game their way. 3. Elliot Page, the star who transitioned in front of the world's judgment. Elliot Page used to play characters who didn't quite belong. Misfits, outsiders, people with quiet battles. It made sense, because he was living one. As the breakout star of Juno, he became a global darling. But under the accolades, there was always a deeper struggle. He wore dresses to red carpets and posed for photos he didn't recognize. Fame was supposed to be a dream, but for Elliot, it felt like a prison. Then came 2020. In a world already exhausted and on edge, Elliot posted one message that cracked the internet. He was transgender. Praise came fast, but so did the backlash. Trolls questioned his identity. Studios went silent. People said he threw away his career. But Elliot didn't flinch. He didn't debate. He existed. Fully, freely, fiercely. Since then, he's become a beacon, especially for trans youth who felt invisible. But the media hasn't always been kind. They ask if he's still relevant, if he's too political, if Hollywood will accept someone like him. Here's the thing, Elliot doesn't need acceptance. He's already won. Because visibility isn't about perfection, it's about survival. And for millions, he became proof that you can live your truth even when the world tells you not to. What do you think? Did Elliot risk everything or gain everything? Should actors play safe or stand tall? Drop your take in the comments. 3. If his story lit a spark in you, hit like, subscribe, and keep following Silent Fame. We honor truth even when it's uncomfortable. 4. George Takei, the Star Trek icon who turned trauma into power. Before rainbow flags, before hashtags, before representation was a buzzword, there was George Takei, a Japanese-American boy who spent part of his childhood in an internment camp, jailed by the country he called home. A man who later became a sci-fi legend on Star Trek while secretly hiding a truth that could have ended his career. He was gay. For decades, George stayed silent, not because he was ashamed, but because he knew the rules. Being Asian in Hollywood was already limiting. Being gay? That was exile. So he smiled, performed, endured. It wasn't until he turned 68 years old that he came out publicly, not for applause, but because he couldn't stay quiet while queer people were under attack. His activism exploded. LGBTQ+ rights, anti-racism, immigration justice. He became louder with age, and somehow more beloved. Today, George is proof that it's never too late to live with truth. His TikToks make Gen Z laugh. His memoirs make baby boomers cry. And his legacy? It spans galaxies. Still, not everyone agrees. Some say he capitalized on his queerness late in life. Others criticize him for dragging politics into fandom. But maybe that's exactly why he matters, because he reminds us that sci-fi is about imagining better futures, and you can't build those if you're scared of difference. What do you think? Should stars speak up late or earlier? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you respect George's journey, like this video and subscribe. This is Silent Fame, where legacy means something. 5. Kit Connor, or the boy they bullied into coming out. Kit Connor didn't come out with a Netflix special. He didn't write an op-ed. He didn't even post a rainbow. What he did was quieter and somehow more heartbreaking. At just 18, after playing a bisexual teen on the beloved series Heartstopper, Kit found himself under fire. Not from haters, but from fans. You're queerbaiting, they accused. You're profiting off queerness without being queer. The irony? He was bisexual. He just wasn't ready to say it yet. Under pressure, Kit tweeted just one sentence. Back for a minute. I'm bi. Congrats for forcing an 18-year-old to out himself. No emojis, no hashtags, just exhaustion, just truth. And suddenly, the world had to face a new villain. Itself. The people who claimed to fight for acceptance became the ones pushing someone out before he was ready. The lesson was bitter, but necessary. Since then, Kit has kept a low profile, quietly acting, quietly healing. But those who watch closely see something else. Strength. Not the loud kind, the quiet kind that keeps showing up even after trust is broken. His story started with softness. It turned hard. And yet, he remains kind. Do you think fans had a right to question him? Or was that moment a betrayal disguised as activism? Let us know what you think. And if his honesty moved you, give this video a like, share Kit's story, and subscribe to Silent Fame. We protect the truth behind the fame. 6. Jonathan Van Ness, the gender non-conforming healer who chose joy over approval. Jonathan Van Ness doesn't walk into a room. They float. In skirts, heels, sparkles, or a shaved head, whatever the moment calls for. To some, they're a fashion icon. To others, a walking scandal. But beneath the glitter, there's grit. Before Queer Eye, Jonathan was a small-town kid from Illinois, battling addiction, surviving abuse, and living with HIV, all while trying to exist in a world that had no blueprint for people like them. When they finally found fame, it wasn't because they fit in, it's because they refused to. Yet fame came with friction. Right-wing critics called them confusing. Even some in the LGBTQ+ community said they were too much, too femme, too loud, too unapologetically different. But Jonathan didn't shrink. They started a podcast, wrote a memoir, donated to trans causes, visited queer youth shelters, gave hugs to everyone, even those who rolled their eyes. They didn't ask for approval. They offered love, and that's the most radical thing of all. So tell us, do you think flamboyance hurts or helps the fight for acceptance? Are we more free when we see joy like Jonathan's? Or does it still make people uncomfortable? Let's discuss below. And if you believe in softness as strength, hit like, comment your truth, and subscribe to Silent Fame. Because visibility should come with protection. 7. Laverne Cox, the woman who refused to apologize for existing. Laverne Cox didn't ask for attention. She earned it. One scene, one speech, one fight at a time. Before Orange is the New Black, she was just another trans woman walking through the world with her head high and her guard up. Misgendered, mocked, overlooked. But she didn't fold. She prepared. And when the camera finally turned her way, she didn't just act, she educated, elevated, and electrified a global audience. Laverne was the first trans person nominated for an Emmy in acting. The first on the cover of Time. The first to say, "I'm not a trend, I'm human." But success didn't mean safety. She was followed on the street, attacked, doxxed, debated like a policy. Even some in the LGBTQ+ community whispered, "Too much, too soon." Yet every time they tried to reduce her, she grew louder. Not in volume, but in power. She created scholarships, fought transphobia, opened doors she never got to walk through herself. Laverne's existence is protest. Her kindness? That's the revolution. Should we demand less visibility to protect trans lives, or more, even when it puts them at risk? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if Laverne inspires you, like this video, share her story, and subscribe to Silent Fame, where we don't just remember trailblazers, we honor them. 8. Colton Haynes, the Hollywood heartthrob who was never allowed to break. Colton Haynes had the look, the jawline, the abs, the smile. In Hollywood, he was the dream, until the dream cracked. In public, he was the star of Teen Wolf and Arrow. In private, he was crumbling, hiding his sexuality, hiding his trauma, smiling through panic attacks, photo shoots, and the constant pressure to be straight enough to sell. When he finally came out in 2016, it wasn't a celebration. It was a breakdown. His career slowed, his body broke down, he ended up in rehab. Some called him weak, others whispered he waited too long. But very few asked what it cost to survive that long in silence. Then came the memoir, the raw, unfiltered, bleeding version of himself. The honesty shocked people, not because it was scandalous, but because it was so real. Colton didn't ask for pity. He asked for empathy, for understanding, for healing. And now slowly he's rebuilding. Brick by brick, roll by roll, smile by earned smile. Should stars like Colton be forgiven for not speaking up sooner? Or should we honor the fact they came forward at all? Let us know in the comments. If you believe recovery is strength, hit like and subscribe to Silent Fame, because comeback stories deserve center stage too. 9. Billy Porter, the man who turned fabric into firepower. Billy Porter didn't wear a dress to shock you. He wore it because he could. At the Oscars, when he stepped onto the red carpet in a tuxedo ball gown, the world gasped. Some clapped, others sneered. But Billy didn't flinch. He posed. Because before that gown, before Pose, before the Emmys, there was a boy from Pittsburgh who was told no so many times, he started saying yes just to spite them. He was told he was too black, too femme, too loud, that he'd never be a leading man, that his queerness was a liability, that his voice was too Broadway. But guess what? He won a Tony, an Emmy, a Grammy, and still people called him too much. To that he says, good, because Billy Porter didn't just show up. He made space for femmes, for flamboyance, for boys in makeup and men in pain. He made joy political, he made fashion revolutionary, and he paid the price. Hollywood still doesn't cast him the way it should. Some call him a walking brand. Others say he makes it about himself. But maybe being seen truly, fully, defiantly is the most radical act of all. Do you think Billy's style opens doors or makes people turn away? Tell us what you feel, and if his courage sparked something in you, hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe to Silent Fame. We honor those who dare to shine unapologetically. 10. Jim Parsons, the quiet giant who rewrote what gay success looks like. He never wore a rainbow cape. He never walked a red carpet in pearls. He didn't need to. Jim Parsons conquered the world in a cardigan and a catchphrase. Bazinga made him the highest paid TV actor in the world. Millions watched The Big Bang Theory, but few knew that behind Sheldon Cooper's quirks was a quiet gay man who never made his queerness the headline. For years, Jim didn't say a word about his sexuality. He wasn't hiding. He was living, loving his partner, building his career, protecting his peace. Then in 2012, during a New York Times profile, he slipped it in like a casual fact. He is gay and in a 10-year relationship. No speech, no press tour, just truth. And in that simplicity, there was power. Jim became a symbol of a different kind of visibility, the kind that says, I don't need to explain myself to be worthy of love, respect, or success. No glitter, no scandal. Just a brilliant actor, a kind human, and a man who chose stability over spectacle. But not everyone admired the quiet route. Some argued he could have done more for the LGBTQ+ cause, that his silence was comforting to straight people, that he wasn't bold enough. Maybe? Or maybe his normalcy is exactly what makes him radical. Because what if queerness didn't have to be loud to be seen? What if existing joyfully, with love, with work, with grace, is the activism we all forget? Jim Parsons proved that you can be the lead, be gay, be loved, and still be respected by the entire industry. Do you think quiet pride makes less impact? Or more? Let's close this video with love and debate. Comment your truth below. And if Jim's quiet courage spoke to your heart, please hit like, subscribe to Silent Fame, and help us keep honoring those who change the world, not always with noise, but with dignity. They didn't ask for sympathy, they earned admiration. In a world quick to judge and slow to understand, these stars proved that being gay isn't a flaw. It's a form of power. Quiet or loud, defiant or gentle, they chose truth over comfort. Which story moved you most? Drop their number in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Silent Fame, because the world needs to remember those who were once erased and now shine even brighter.